My name is Alberto Sanchez and I'm going to introduce you to the didactic unit that I have prepared. This didactic unit has been created to be used on the subject of technology. It's aimed to a group of 24 students aged 13 to 14 studying second of ESO. The secondary school in which this unit is going to be developed is Cavall Bernat Secondary School. It's located in Terrassa. It is considered to be a high complexity school. This means that the economic and social context is difficult in many cases. The Cavall Bernat School has a multicultural context, which means that a good coexistence may be hard sometimes. Many of the students are from Morocco and some of them are Gypsy. The academic level of the students is rather low. They study English as a subject, but they don't feel that their command is good enough to follow a technology lesson taught in English. This didactic unit will treat the topic of electricity. The name of the topic will be Basics of Electricity. It's a topic that is imposed by the legal curriculum of the subject of technology. The unit contains 5 lessons, although this document only develops 3 of them. At the end of the unit, the students will have to be able to understand the functioning of basic electric circuits, to interpret electrical diagrams, to identify and classify the components of electrical circuits, to understand the concept of electricity and the electric circuit, and even design basic circuits. They will also have developed certain abilities to speak in English about the topic of electricity. In order to teach the subject of technology, we have 2 spaces: the conventional classroom with capacity for 24 students, and the workshop of technology with capacity for 12 students. I'm going to introduce now the lesson plan. The lesson plan will be integrated by 5 sessions teaching contents, 2 sessions in which the students will prepare a PowerPoint presentation, and 1 session for the students to present their PowerPoint presentation. The sessions developed will be the session 1, called Basic Electric Circuit, session 2, Electricity, session 3, Electrical Components. Then the sessions 4 and 5 are not developed in this didactic unit. The session 4 would be Electrical Magnitudes, Ohm's Law, and the session 5 would be Series and Parallel Circuits. The sessions 6, 7 and 8 are treated at the assessment section at the end of the document. At sessions 6 and 7 the students will be preparing the presentation, and at session 8 the students will show the presentation to the rest of the class. I'm going to introduce now the teaching objectives of the unit. Regarding content, they will be the following: to understand what is an electrical circuit, components of a basic circuit, electrical symbol of the components of a basic circuit, representation of an electric circuit with an electrical diagram, to understand and describe the nature of matter, and to understand what electricity is and where it comes from. Regarding communication, there will be name of the tools, components and materials used to make the activity, keywords, vocabulary related to the nature of matter, electricity and the electric circuit, structures used to show to the students what they have to do and how they have to do their tasks, structures, connectors given to the students to explain themselves about the theme studied, making predictions, expressing opinions, giving solutions, asking and answering questions. Regarding cognition, they will be developing ideas, hypothesizing and applying information, anticipating consequences, explaining with their own words the functioning of a circuit, making hypotheses about the way of functioning of each component, assembling a circuit and classifying the components in generators, receptors, conductors and control elements. And finally, regarding culture, the students will have to show respect for the tools and materials used, and also show respect for the ideas of others when working in groups. Here you find a list of the aims of session number 1. The aims will be to assemble an electric circuit with a lamp controlled by a switch, to identify the components of a basic circuit, to identify the electrical symbol of the components of a basic circuit, and to use the most basic components of electric circuits: batteries, lamps, switches, or cables. Now, I will explain how the session 1 is developed at the classroom. The teacher shows to the students a basic electric circuit and show them the components of the circuit and the tools they will later use to assemble it. The students will identify the components by labeling them at a drawing given by the teacher. The teacher then shows the circuit already assembled to the students and also shows how it works and tells them how to make the assembly. The teacher also draws at the blackboard the electric diagram and explains what an electrical diagram is and the electrical symbol of the components used at the diagram. The students will then copy the drawing of the electrical diagram and will identify the electrical symbol of the components used at the diagram. They will also make a list of the components and tools that will be used at the assembly. Then, working in pairs, the students assemble the circuit under the observation of the teacher. Also working in pairs, the student write a report with their hypothesis about the functioning of the circuit, and they make a short list of some practical uses for which they think this circuit can be used. Finally, the teacher fosters a debate with the students to discuss the hypothesis they have previously reported about the functioning of the circuit and about the list they made of possible practical uses of the assembled circuit. Here you will find a list of the aims of session number 2. The aims will be to understand and describe the nature of matter, to understand the concept of electricity, and to understand the concept of the electric circuit. I will show you now the task plan of session number 2. The teacher will show to the students a PowerPoint presentation explaining the nature of matter and concept of electricity, the concept of the electric circuit, and the real and the conventional direction of the electric current. Then the students will do working in pairs, labeling activities about the atom and fill gaps activities with sentences about the concept of electricity. Working in pairs, the students will do activities to learn to identify components of electric circuits, to draw electrical diagrams, and to indicate the real direction and the conventional direction of electric current. They will also do activities in which they have to deduce the functioning of a circuit under different circumstances. Here you will find a list of the aims of session number 3. The aims will be to identify the components of an electric circuit, to classify the components of an electric circuit in generators, receptors, conductors, and control elements, the 4 families of components, to identify the main electrical symbols of the elements of a circuit, to understand the functioning of the main components in a circuit, and to describe the main effects of the electric energy. The task plan of session number 3 will be the following. Firstly, the teacher shows to the students a PowerPoint presentation explaining the classification in 4 families of electrical components: generators, receptors, conductors, and control elements. That PowerPoint presentation also shows the symbol of every component studied, the functioning of the main components, and the teacher describes as well the main effects of the electricity. The teacher gives then to every pair of students a set of components, and the students will identify the components and fill the table with the name of the electrical components, the electrical symbol, and a drawing or photograph of each component. Then they will classify the components in the 4 families. They indicate on the same table to which family of components they belong to. And then they will make hypotheses about the way of functioning of each component. Finally, the teacher fosters a discussion in order to correct the activities already finished. As far as resources are concerned, for the session number 1, there is an activity which is included in the document. It includes activities and language scaffolding resources for writing and oral communication, such as labeling activities, one-on-one speaking activities, short report production, full class discussions, learn by doing activities, etc. These activities are included at the resources section, at the document delivered to present this didactic unit. Other resources that will be used to develop the teaching are the PowerPoints prepared for sessions 2 and 3. For session number 2, there is a file also included at the resources section of the document delivered, with all the activities and language scaffolding resources for writing and oral communication, such as labeling activities, one-on-one speaking activities, short report production, full class discussions, and activities to hypothesize about the functioning of a circuit under several situations. There is also a file that includes the activities related to session number 3. And finally, to do the assessment, the teacher will use the following resources. On a future session, every group of 2 students will show a PowerPoint presentation summarizing all the topics learned during the previous lessons. The students will have 2 sessions to prepare this presentation, and the presentations will be exposed to the rest of the class. The teacher will assess this activity taking into account the performance of the student of the presentation, using a rubric that is included on the section number 4 of the document, assessment, and the peer assessment, also with a rubric filled by the companion of the group of 2. The teacher will also evaluate the progress of the students on the sessions developed at the workshop, also using specific rubrics. Also, an exam will be used to evaluate the students. And this is all. I hope this presentation is useful for you. Thank you.